Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cocktails. I'm your host, John, back with my girl, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you doing tonight?
2 nights in a row. Look at us.
I
Look at
love
us.
it.
Who would have thought? Look at us.
Like, who would have thought when we first started this shit show that we would be multiple time a week podcasters?
I know.
How many episodes have we done?
It's funny you should say that. I had to look it up today for something, and I want to say it's like 188.
No, stop. And to think, in the beginning, I would pop on like every other month whenever there was CrossFit news.
Well, and to think our guest tonight, last time he was on, it was Make Pods Great Again, and they were expecting a baby, and now their baby's like super old and about to go off to college with a 401k or something. Scott Panchik's with us. Scott, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
All the episodes.
Yeah. So many. We're so professional.
Dedicated to these listeners.
Oh, when you put it that way and you realize how much better we've not gotten, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, I think we just like to talk, Scott. I think that's kind of the gist. Actually, You know what? Here's the true story. It's just fun. Like Nikki and I both, we have real jobs. Like we don't need to do this. I don't need to do it at all. Other than I just really love talking to people and hearing their stories. And there's like so many cool things going on in our community. So it's fun for us. As long as it keeps being fun, we'll keep doing it.
Yeah, life's about relationships, and there's no better way to do it than through the Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, these days, yeah.
Here.
Life's about relationships. There's no better way to do it than virtually and never in person anymore.
It is fun for me though, because I feel like particularly these days with all things Panchik, I only talk to you guys via text, including your brother. So it's always good to at least catch some FaceTime via Zoom and find out what's going on in people's lives. So
listen, I'll shoot you over my address. You can stop over anytime, man.
There you go.
Get a little work done in the body shop in there and just crank out some Metcons.
Dude, first of all, there's no cranking when I'm working out. Like I'm too old for cranking. Your dad destroys me. You know this.
Yeah, but we can go in and at least put forth our best effort.
I can
just try your best to keep up with Papa Panchik.
I can't. Nikki, did I ever tell you about the time Papa Panchik nearly destroyed me? Like literally nearly put me in the hospital.
What?
It was terrible. So all the boys had gone.
It was probably the warm-up because my dad's warm-ups.
It was the
People
warm-up.
Still talk about the warm-ups to this day at our gym.
I was training at Mentality, and I forget, maybe it was the games. I forget where you guys were all going, but all three of you guys were going somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty confident in my memory, it probably was the games. And maybe it was the year you and Saxon were competing, but your dad stuck around to, he was coaching a class and he was doing the
he coaches at Mentality.
Well, he was subbing cause all the coaches were gone.
He was subbing. Yeah. Okay. B team was
and
in.
So I'm like,
that's far from I'll catch you on that. Because he's the A team. He's gonna give you more than you can handle and then some.
No.
See, that's what I thought, Nikki. Like I show up, I'm like, oh, old man Panchik's coaching. This will be easy. 15 minutes into the warm-up, I am like in tears. Like we had sit there and done ab work for like 10 minutes straight. I'm like, bro, I am about to die. You cannot keep doing this to me. It was so rough. We were running the rig and doing wind sprints. And I'm like, this is like a football team. It was.
Well, how do you think I made it? How do you think I made it to the games so many years? And then, you look at the family history here. Well, there's got to be a reason. My dad used to make us run to hockey practice with our sticks above our heads. Like we're in a tight ship.
That's when it occurred to me, because he's so laid back and he's unassuming and he's fun to work out with, and we joke around when I see him, he's like real personable. And so you just never get the impression that he's, this taskmaster in the gym. But man, I learned my lesson the hard way. I'm like, never again. Next time he's coaching, I am taking the day off.
That's great.
It was fun though. How is your dad? I've not seen him in months.
He's doing really well. Well, busy this time of year, just doing all things holiday. I mean, everybody is. It's the most important time of year to stay healthy, but it's the most challenging time of year to get it all done. And sometimes our fitness is the one thing that tends to get put on the back burner. So he's still working out. He's got some equipment at home. I think he's just probably struggling to get in and spend as much time in the gym as he has in the past. And that's the thing, is like, a lot of people don't realize this, but like, as a gym owner, people think we're only in there for their 1 hour of the day.
Right.
But there's like a very large part of the day that we could be in there. So people are like, oh man, must be nice to be a gym owner. And I'm like, yeah, come on in. I'll show you what it's like to be a gym owner. We'll get the mop out, and sweep, and
So you'll love this.
scrub the toilets. And
Figure out my own marketing, do my own taxes. So fun.
Somebody sent me a message in a Q&A the other night. They're like, hey, would you ever consider investing in a gym for passive income? I'm like, are you insane? Like, there is no such thing as passive income at a CrossFit gym. Like, you work for every penny you get, and it's hard work. It isn't like you're just rolling in there and watching people work out all day. It's like, oh
yeah, it's a 24-hour gig. I mean, you're constantly working with your coaching staff, or who's coaching where and what, and then just being in there and being present. I mean, owning a gym is really all about relationships and building those relationships. And if you're not in there and you're not spending time with those people, you're not getting to pour into that community and that culture. And I believe that's what it's all about. And that's what creates a great work environment. That's what people want to come in and feel. They want to feel something when they come into the gym. And you can't fake that. You either got it or you don't. And when we work with our coaches, we talk a lot. We just say, hey, I want to know what time of day are you most on? I do not want to put you at 5:30 a.m. if you are not a 5:30 a.m. morning person.
Right.
And structuring things like that, and then kind of filling in the gaps is definitely difficult.
It is so true. And I think that is really what sets CrossFit gyms apart, in my opinion. You truly cannot just own the gym and then put a great management team in and have a great staff and walk away and call it a day. It's just not a business model like that, because it relies so heavily on the community and on those relationships. And I have personally watched several gyms crumble because owners end up kind of moving on, which is fine. You know what I mean? If you start a business and 10 years later, that is no longer a priority in your life, or your plans have changed or whatever, that's totally fine. You just can't still run that gym, and you can't be the owner and put a GM in place and think that you can just kind of roll in and out the way you want. People don't have love for you that way unless you're part of the community. And that is hard. That is, like you said, it is a full-time gig and then some, because you gotta be the guy, you gotta be the pole that keeps the whole tent up. That's tough.
And you gotta want to do it. You gotta want to do it.
100%.
You just gotta know what you're getting into. And I went into teaching and coaching. I went to college for health and phys ed, and I always thought, I'd be in a classroom teaching those things and working with kids that, K through 12 or health and phys ed, teaching them all about how to dribble a basketball, how to throw a football, and what the heck's going on with their bodies.
Right. And lo and behold, you're technically kind of doing it still.
I'm still doing it now. Yeah. Now it's just, what's great about it now, what I love the most about being a gym owner is every person that walks through the door and makes the decision to do their on-ramp. And once they finish their on-ramp, they are excited and want to be there. Maybe not every day. Their job's to show up. My job's to get them excited and help them, really find the passion. And for the morning group, they get to start their day there. And the evening group, they're coming from work and a little stressed out. So my day's built around helping them create the best hour of their day. And that's pretty awesome to not have to work on just motivating and getting kids to, I used to struggle to get kids to run one lap around the track. And I'm not kidding. They would not dressed for class. And now it's like everybody's in there and they want to be there. So I've seen both sides, and I get excited. If you come through the door, I'm gonna get you going in the workout, and you're gonna have a great day. I can promise you that.
So is that mainly what is going on right now? Like I'm so curious to hear about how you're filling all your time now that you're, officially retired from the competition scene.
I've definitely been coaching more. I've always had a coaching role, and usually I coach in the evenings. You can find me in the gym at like 5:15. We run a class, and that's usually my go-to class. And then 6:30 occasionally, and then filling in the gaps with on ramps throughout the day. But so that hasn't changed a ton, but I have started some new projects. I just recently launched a program called Scotty P and Me. And what these are training sessions where I work one-on-one and take people through. We'll do like a 30-minute Zoom call prior to the session, and we'll talk through what movements and things that you want to see in the session. And then we'll go through and we'll work out together. We'll talk strategy, we'll talk tips, we'll talk technique, and then work out. And some of it will be like interval work, some of it will be weightlifting, and it's really tailored to meet the demands of what that person wants to focus on. But it's not a personal training session. It's like we're training together. Like you have somebody next to you, they're pushing you, and I'm going to scale things and make them just as hard as they are for me. I'm going to make them just as hard for you. And there's an 1.5-hour session, there's a 3-hour session, and then there's a full weekend where you can do a Friday evening, all day Saturday, and early morning Sunday.
Whoa.
So I just launched that this past week. So last week.
Fun. So is the intention there to like set up 1 or 2 or 3 sessions with you to like figure out how to get one skill down, or like I just want to like get a mech on, or is this like people recurring 3-hour workouts every other week with you? Like what's the intention there?
Yeah, I think the intention is to give people life's about relationships, one, and I'm really passionate about 2 things is building relationships, and I love exercising, and I'm really good at exercising. I've learned a lot throughout these last 10 years, and I just want to be able to share those things with people in their journey. And I'd love to be able to watch some people get their first muscle up, or I'd love to be able to just help people learn and kind of have that aha moment in the gym where there's just like little things that I think sometimes are overlooked, that I know I can help and improve, whether it's nutrition or supplementation. And just there's so many things that go into being an athlete and getting to that next point in your athletic CrossFit career, whatever you want to call it. And these sessions are really just built around, getting to meet some amazing athletes and people, showing them what, some training looks like to, prepare for the games or sanctioned events or local competitions, and just showing them how I've gotten better at movements, and then giving them the tools to take those things home. And that way they can do them on their own.
It's a virtual training partner.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a virtual.
Fun.
I do have a virtual option. So one of the other projects I've been working on is it's an app, and it's a system called Stream Fitness, where it is a gym management system. So like Wodify, SugarWOD, we'll have the ability to do that here in the next month or so. We can run competitions on there. So virtual competitions, leaderboards, in-house local competitions in your gym. And then the other one is virtual classes as well. So I've been running, we call it a power hour every Tuesday at 11 a.m. at my house, at my home gym. And people from around the world can come on to Stream Fitness and sign up and do this power hour with me from their gym. They just need they need good internet and an iPad or a computer or a phone or something like that to link up, and we'll do about an hour session together. And that's one of the other things I've been working on that's been in the works for like the last 1.5 years.
Yeah. So Scotty P and Me is in-person training.
Yeah, Scotty P and me is
Oh,
in person.
shit.
So people would come out
Cool.
and do that, and we would do sessions at the gym mostly, unless we need to bring a couple sessions here. And then there is a virtual option that I'm running through Stream Fitness here. That's kind of the evolution of it. I haven't really put too much about that out, but Tuesdays people can come on and do those sessions.
Oh, we're coming.
You should.
You better open up the Panchik home gym to
All
me
right.
and John, because we are
Boom.
Scotty
Done.
peeing and meing all
Hey, I
weekend.
mean-
We'll pick a weekend and do it.
JFW did get his first ring muscle up over at Mentality.
This is
Just
true.
saying.
He
Just
did.
saying.
Look, I've learned a lot from Scott. I would highly, I haven't been on any of these streams, but I without being on it, I would tell you it's going to be valuable. You're going to learn things you have not realized about fitness, even like little things. I thought of you, Scott, actually, a few weekends ago at Rogue. I was at a gym, and Nikki, you'll love this. Like when you're at Mentality, like one of the first weeks I was there, we were doing wall balls, and I was getting my butt kicked as usual. And I dropped the ball, and like I turn around and I sit on it, and Scott's like, "Get off that ball, man! I'm gonna smack you with it." It's like we don't sit on wall balls here. And I'm like, "Why not?" And he's like, "It warps them." And I'm like, "All right, well, I didn't know that." Well, I'm at Rogue, and I'm at a gym, and the workout's running and wall balls and toes to bar and some snatches. And I come in off the run, and I grab the wall ball and I throw it, and it's warped, and it hits me right in the face coming down. And I literally like, well, Scott was right. They do warp. I'd never had a warped one until then. I'm like, this is why you don't sit on them.
No, but you know what's funny is you always know really high quality gyms like Mentality. My first gym in Maine was like this too. When people from day one learn like gym etiquette, and then they travel, and then it's like the greatest compliment you can give someone is like, oh, like that person was trained somewhere that was like very, in tune with gym etiquette, or just being a respectful member, or and you can always tell. And it's like that home gym that was like really quality and taught excellent movement and excellent, like that's so John will have that forever because of your gym.
Oh, there's so many things you learn there. Like you don't put your stuff away until the workout's done.
Yeah, all those good things.
Like
yeah,
all the good stuff.
I personally, I think it's like newer gyms that maybe aren't as OG as where we all started, that maybe don't have that super homegrown, like, no, we had to make CrossFit, you guys. Like we had to make it what it is today. And we had to
we had to figure it out.
We had to figure it out. And we had to make sure that like people weren't shitheads, or else it wasn't going to get anywhere, kind of.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I still remember the first time I went in and I was like, I'm going to do something crazy today. I'm going to do 2 workouts. I mean, when I first started, I was only doing like a workout. And then eventually I started doing a couple workouts, and then it started with some rowing intervals, and then it just kind of took off from there. But yeah, it's interesting. And it's funny. I always tell, we have members that have never been to another gym, and then they go on vacation. And I always say they have what I call only child syndrome, where they don't know anything different. So when they go into another gym, they're like, what? You do? You what? And it's just like, they come home and they're like, oh my gosh, let me tell you about my experience. And they tell me all about the horror stories. And I'm like,
this gym didn't start on time, and they ended late, and it was dirty. And
it was dirty, and people didn't clean up, or people were late. I mean, and I'm the queen of being late to the gym these days, because I just do not know or understand how to deal with this like baby feeding schedule. And I always have it in my head.
I would give you what we call some wiggle room with your time coming in. And also, I'm not I'm not super strict on time if someone is late. So here's what I will say. If anyone's listening and you go to a CrossFit gym, if you are someone that has a lot of questions and you aren't sure, you're learning, or you're just starting, make sure you're on time. True. If you're someone that understands everything and you have a strong idea of what's going on, and you can come in and just break right into it, and you're not someone that is super needy in that way, then you're fine. Yeah. But it's the people that show up late and then have a million questions about the things that you talked about when they weren't there. That's whenever it gets a little like, okay, hey, we need to have a quick chat, because you're starting to take away from the other people in the class. Whenever I could be coaching someone, I'm spending time saying the same things that I already said to you. So that would be the conversation and the advice I would give to those.
I think what
Excellent
people
advice.
would benefit from your online classes that they may not be getting where they are, or that they just don't even realize from, having, and this is no offense to all the other coaches, but there are a lot of kind of average coaches out there, that
Mhm.
maybe don't have the high level, competitive experience you do, or even the long-term coaching experience. Like in my time at Mentality, I learned to breathe. And for 5 years, no one had taught me that. No one had ever said, hey, John, maybe you should think about breathing at the top when you're throwing the wall ball or doing thrusters. And, all of a sudden I'm not getting gassed in workouts anymore. And even to this day, people will say to me, you really love long workouts. I'm like, no, I don't really love long workouts, but I can manage them because I know when I should be breathing. And,
Yeah.
you learn where to take breaks and what's a smart break. And as long as I live, I'll never forget. I think it was Saxon maybe that did this to me, but I'm sure he learned it from you. We're doing rope climbs. It's the middle of workout. He's like, don't take your break before the rope climb. Get on the rope. Do your first one. You can break after you do your first one. And once I started getting that mentality of going, I can do more than I think I can.
Yeah.
And change my break schedule. It really changed the way I started looking at workouts, and truthfully, it expanded my vision of fitness and what a workout can be.
Yeah. Him and I have talked about this before on a number of times. And the advice that I always give is, it's like, you can always go to a new movement and do a few reps because it's a completely different stimulus than what you're doing already. So if you can get a few reps in and then rest, you're going to be ahead of everyone else that's already resting. And then you'll finish before them in that one particular movement. And it starts to add up over time. And then when I look into like how long a workout is, let's say you're doing a 7-minute AMRAP, then you want to think of, I always compare it to running. How would your heart rate feel in the first 2 minutes of a 7-minute run? Or if it's a 15-minute AMRAP, what would your heart be like if you were going out for a 15-minute run? And you're trying to kind of get an idea of like, okay, I need to keep my heart rate. Like I can keep a high heart rate for 5 minutes. Like that's like a 2 laps around the track, maybe for most people. And that just really gives you like a little better guidance of like how to tackle a workout. And that is something that's interesting. You said that because I've actually thought about doing like a coaching summit at Mentality, and I haven't had the time to do it. So maybe I'll put that on the agenda for this year.
I think
We're coming to that too.
Yeah, it'd be a huge benefit.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
People. I also want to challenge your 2 laps around in 5 minutes. I saw you run at the games this year, bro. So we're gonna time that.
We're gonna talk about that. I think that would be really cool.
All fairness, I did beat a couple of people.
You actually did.
I did. I didn't come in last. All right. And that was my goal. I was like, I'm gonna get somebody. And I was trying to chase somebody else down. I was like, I'm gonna get that guy. They were like, don't get caught by Scott.
No, but I would totally, I'm serious in that. I think coaching summit would be rad. And from someone like you with your experience on so many different levels within the CrossFit space, I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of opportunity for stuff like that outside of just, re-upping your certification. I've been coaching for 10 years because I'm old as hell. And I can't think of a thing outside of, I got to go like re-up my L2, or should I go for the L3, or there's not a lot very specific. I mean, there's all sorts of different like CEs you can do in the coaching world, but specific CrossFit, there's not much.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll have to think on that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he's also on all this digital talk and all the online streaming. You have another app on top of all that.
That's right. You've been on that a little bit.
I've been on it a lot, and it's killing me. It's great.
That's awesome.
It's terrific. It's called Unlocked, right? And
Unlocked.
And I'll let you tell the story, and then I'll tell you what it's just.
So this app originated about a year ago, and at least about a year ago, we started working on it, and it got launched a little bit after the games this year. And what it is everyone has training programs now, right? You can go and you can follow a competitor training track. Every athlete has one. So I wanted to think, okay, I had one, it was called RX Mentality. I was like, all right, I need to come up with something new, something different. So I decided I was going to create a workout generator with all the workouts that I had written for our affiliate this in the last, let's see, we opened in 2013, last 8 years. So I've taken all of those workouts and some of the workouts that I've even done training, and I put them into this program. I did not put them. I have a team that has helped me.
I was like, wow, cool.
I am not a savvy person when it comes to technology. So I have an amazing team over at Stream with that app. And then with the Unlock team, I have an amazing team there too. So they are the unsung heroes here, but they put all the workouts in, and we kind of teamed up where they had the ability to create the back end of everything, where now it's a workout generator that you can build a workout based off of the equipment you have at home or movements that you want to do in the workout. So basically you would go through, when you sign in, it gives you a whole list of equipment. You choose what pieces of equipment you have at home, and then it'll tell you have access to 80% of the workouts in Unlocked. And then you would click next, and it'll start generating you workouts based off of the equipment that you have at home. And if you want to find a specific workout, so let's say I want a burpee workout, I could type in burpee and it'll give me only burpee workouts. So it'll say you have access to 7% of the workouts in Unlocked, and they're all burpee workouts based off of the equipment you have. So it's basically sorting things based off of equipment and your movement if you want to choose a movement, or it can randomly select them as well.
That is so freaking cool. That's every single CrossFitter needs that app for like Sunday open gym.
Open gym,
yeah,
traveling.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is something, so I created this for me, like not just for me, but like I would use this as a coach and a gym owner. This is what I would get on to create workouts for my gym. And I wanted to make something that was easier for coaches to go on, and they can look at it and they know that these workouts have been tested. These have been done at an affiliate. And it's not me thinking like, this workout would be a cool combination. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want, like in our gym, you're never the rough draft. I'm the rough draft. You get the final draft of what the workout is after I test it and run through it, know what the stimulus is. And now you get the final product. So every workout in there has been tested. I've run through it in some type of variation, and it is set up. And these are designed, yes, they can be used for competitive athletes. I think you can do any workout, and it can be hard for a competitive athlete that has dreams of going to the games. But I would say this is for your everyday gym goers, your CrossFit affiliates around the world, the people that are in their garage gyms at home, the people that are traveling in hotels and only have access to dumbbells and some janky looking rower. This is for you. And then there is a second part. So we're starting to add and put in new features, but there's a second feature in there now that just got released about a month ago. And that is my workout journal that I do with everything that I do every day. So I put in my workouts, I put in my times, I put in my strengths, I put in percentages, and then there's a little video in there of me just giving like a quick little briefing. This workout was really hard. I broke it up this way, and just giving some quick tips and strategy on the workout.
You know, I was going to ask if life has slowed down for you at all since stepping away from competitive CrossFit, but like,
I don't have a slow down gear. That's my problem, is like,
dude, you're doing 3 hours Scotty P and me sessions, and then you got your thing on the app every single day. You got to put in your thing, and you're recording a video for it. Oh, and you also coach your classes. And like, we haven't even talked about your baby.
I do a lot of it from home, so I get to spend a lot of time with her. That's the best part.
That's awesome.
And honestly, I found that since my focus has shifted from competing to just working on some of these other things, that I'm not just like obsessed over my next training session. And if like life gets a little busy, it's not the first thing that I'm like, I need to start working out right now. And that's what it takes. And I think that's sometimes overlooked by a lot of people in the community, is they see athletes, and you start to see athletes showing up to the games every year, and you kind of expect to see them there. But I don't think a lot of people realize how much work goes into these athletes showing up for, 5 days of the year to compete, and how much work they put in to be prepared to compete on that stage on those days.
Carrie Pierce was
lot.
just saying this on the show. She was just on like 2 weeks ago, and she was just saying like people don't recognize and understand like the anxiety that goes into like, oh man, I'm a half hour behind schedule. I should already be eating by now because I need to train at this time. Or like, wait, we're going to travel, but now my plane is delayed, but I got to be in the gym by this time in order to get this stuff done, because this is what I have to do today. And like, you don't even think about how you can't really do life and do competitive training for the games at the same time. It just, the incongruent, like it does not mesh.
Yeah. It starts to consume you. Just, it becomes consuming.
Yeah.
And I think that I like to think that there's certain things that you can do to find a happy balance. That's why I've always refused to like stop coaching completely. And like, as I get closer to the games, when I was competing, I would train a little bit more at home, but I really tried to coach as much as I could, at least one class, 3 days a week, 3 to 5 days a week. And that always kind of kept me grounded, and again, it comes back to those relationships and people checking in with you, and it not just being this like punch the clock. And it's like this never ending loop that's going on in your head. But there aren't any athletes out there in the world. I don't want to say there's none, but there are very few athletes in the world that are training as hard as the CrossFit Games athletes.
I believe it.
I really don't think the seconds that you're trying to peel off times is just, it's unreal. Yeah, it's unreal what they're doing. So it's been nice to be able to focus on some other things, and very energizing. And my little girl is amazing. She's walking now.
What?
She's walking and she's running. She can squat. I taught her to squat.
How old is she now?
Just over one. Well, let's see, September, October, November, December. So 13 or
15.
1 year and 3 months.
Oh,
15 months.
Goodness.
I think that's how they do it.
I can't. She's already a year. Oh, that's crazy. I feel like it was like yesterday we were having you on the show. John mentioned, and you were just, she wasn't even here yet.
She talks. She's got a few words. She says hot, like hot. She says meow. She says hi. She like when she can't come up with anything to say, hi. Yeah, and that's about it.
That's so cool. I love it.
What is it about the Panchiks that all you guys have the most beautiful baby girls between you and Saxon, man? Like it's unreal how beautiful those 3 little baby girls are.
I'm getting their looks from their moms, that's for sure.
That must be it. That must be it.
She did get my head. She's in the 90 percentile there. She's not going to like that later on down the road, probably, but
maybe she'll grow into it.
I hope so. I actually this is a funny story. John, you'll like this. When I played youth football, I went in and I got my helmet, and they went through every helmet that they had, and there was only one helmet that fit my head. And it had a big lineman face mask on it. And I was playing quarterback at the time. So they had to like take the mask off. They put a quarterback mask on, and they told me I was like, I think it went up to like 14, and I think I was 9. And they were like, just keep it. They said, just keep it until you're done for the whole time, because we don't want to go through someone else maybe getting your helmet.
Oh, yeah. That's, you don't strike me as like a super big head gay. Grew right into that dome of yours. No big deal.
I did. I got to keep lifting weights, otherwise it's going to look disproportionate.
Oh my God. We make fun of the baby. It's probably bad to say out loud, but we make fun of the baby all the time because he's starting to get my dad, like his grandfather. My dad's like big giant ears that like stick just directly sideways out of his head. So we make fun of him all the time for his like giant ears. They're adorable. I love everything about them. I'm like, got grandpa's ears coming in there, huh?
Mira was in the 98th percentile for head. She grew into it. Your baby will be
Yeah.
fine. She'll be fine.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, she'll totally be fine. Well, we're kind of on a short episode tonight because Nikki's got some baby stuff for own. But I wanted, before we wrap up, how's your knee since the surgery and recovery? How's it been
Yeah.
going?
Yeah, knee's getting better. Finally getting back into some lifting. It's kind of one of those things right now where the doctor told me, they're like, you're not going to like re-injure it necessarily, but you can definitely do some things that are going to put you in a world of pain. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to do a few things. Let's see how it feels. Let's do a few things, see how it feels. So each week I'm just kind of adding a little bit of weight on some of the squats. I've been doing a lot of rehab, and seeing my good friend Chad at Code Cairo and Matt Stevens. He's does some remote programming for my rehab. He's a pure physio. And those two guys have done a great job really helping me come back and keeping me grounded. Because if it was up to me, I'd probably would have been in the gym squatting the next day. I was able to walk out of surgery. I was like, I'm not using these crutches. I was like, old grumpy man, like, don't need this. I can walk out of here. And next day I was like, I'm going to the gym. But yeah, there have been a couple times where I like, oh man, I definitely overdid it, but not too many. I would say I'm definitely feeling great. And I think it really speaks to, in CrossFit, we talk about the it's called like the fitness health continuum.
Yeah.
And on one side is the fittest you've ever been, and then on the other side is like death and dying. And in the middle is wellness. Most people sit just below well in the US. Like our average everyday person sits below well. And with me being the fittest that I've ever been in my life at the games, having that surgery only dropped me to well. So I maybe even not even there. I feel like the recovery has gone really, really well because of where I was before I went in. And then on top of that, eating healthy and drinking lots of water and getting lots of sleep and things like that play a huge part as well. I think I said
sorry,
well.
did you say getting lots of sleep?
And drinking water.
yeah.
I mean, go figure.
Is that happening? When do I start getting lots of sleep? That's
You should call my wife Kristen, because she took Kinsley through sleep training.
no.
And I'll tell you what, parents, if you have not heard of this, you need to check out. It's called Taking Care of Babies.
Yes. We're
Okay, I'm not
huge Taking
sponsored
Care
by
of
them.
Babies fans. Yes,
not
not
sponsored
paid.
by them.
I wish.
But I will say that you did the sleep training with that. It was like a very difficult 7 days. At 7 to 9 days, I think it took. I slept in the basement. I was getting ready for the games. She was very nice and kind. That's how loving my wife is. She's the best. And once she got through that, she sleeps like a rock star now.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
We've been
but
doing.
You got to take that. You got to stick to a schedule. You
Yeah.
know, and you got to
Yeah.
follow it. You got to follow it to the T. And if you do that, I really think, at least what I've read and what she's told me, is it's all about like setting up a good routine then.
Yeah.
And if your baby learns how to put themselves back to sleep on their own, everything else will take care of itself. But if you are always running in there, giving them the like I was the guy, I was running in there, giving her the binky, come back with the binky, I check on her, and
same.
Like, all right, you're down in the basement.
Same. We got on the Taking Care of Babies train at 4 weeks. Like the first 4 weeks are just like a shit show. It just is what it is. He's hungry every 90 minutes. You're just like trying.
I remember our first night home. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, can't sleep. I'm wide awake. I'm like, she needs a new diaper. She needs fed. I think she's like, I'll finally fall asleep. I'm like, she's in our bed. I'm like looking all around, tapping the covers because I, fell asleep watching her being held by Kristen, and I think I fell asleep on her.
Our first night home, we I'll tell this story real quick and then I'll go stick to my schedule and feed the baby. But our first night home, we had only like the nurse showed Matt how to swaddle while we were in the hospital and using their like shitty hospital blankets, like these old itchy scratchy whatever. And when we left the hospital, I didn't bring one of those blankets home for like a memory or whatever, because I was like, I have 35 swaddle blankets at home. Everyone gave them for me in my shower and they're like nice and new and soft or whatever. But Matt had only ever learned how to swaddle with this one blanket. We get home and my swaddle blankets at home are like a little bit smaller. So he doesn't know what the fuck to do all of a sudden. Like it's like when you learn to snatch and then you go to snatch and you're like,
and you do a clean.
Right. And you're like, it just doesn't make any sense. So we're up all night. We have gone through blanket after swaddle, after blanket, after don't know what the fuck to do, have no idea how to handle this tiny little baby. And he's like, we're swaddling him wrong. So he's like kicking his legs. And because there's extra fabric, he's like kicking himself over to the side. Now he's laying on his side. And we were like, he can't sleep on his side. We don't know what to. We literally at 3:00 in the morning, I'm yelling at Matt. I'm like, drive your ass back to the hospital and get one of those blankets if that's the only thing you know how to do. And he was like, no. That's crazy. I'm not doing that. And we literally he slept with one hand in the bassinet on the baby to stop him from rolling onto his side. And I slept on top of Matt so that I could see into the bassinet because I didn't want him blocking my view. And that the next day,
survival mode.
insane. The next day, like so many friends texted us and they were like, how was your first night? Because they knew, because you go nuts your first night. But yeah, no, we got on that schedule at like 4 weeks and he's finally now, knock on wood. I mean, probably shouldn't even say this on the air because it will make it not happen anymore, but starting to give us like 6-7 hours at a time. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's I don't think I have it in me to like legitimately sleep train and let him cry it out for like more than a minute. So I'm like, please let this work. Please just keep doing this because if we get to a point,
but somebody in charge is well worth it. I know.
I'm gonna have to leave the house.
That's why she probably put me down in the basement. Well, that and I was getting ready for the games. I didn't have a choice. I don't know if I would have been able to because
I can't.
There was one night I was actually up here. It was the second night we did it. And Kristen's parents were here. So I couldn't go in the basement. So I slept in there with her. And oh my goodness, this baby was going nuts. She was screaming so loud. Kristen's mom's like, hey, you got to go in there. He's going to get sick. You can't do that. You got to go in there. And Kristen's, I was like, don't do it. We got to stick to it. We're 2 days, or we were like 2 or 3 days in.
I can't.
And I was like, hey, because you have to start over then. And yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be good.
I won't survive. He's got to just keep doing this.
There's 2 of you.
And this has got to work because I literally can't. I've never given a shit about babies crying ever in life until I had my own. And now I'm like, there's no worse sound. My insides turn to jelly, like, and melt me. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not missing any of this, to be honest.
I know you're like out of
John's
the
like,
hump.
I will take another one, please.
No, look, I went through all of it with the first one. The second baby, we just tossed Megan with the dogs. Like we're like, she'll sleep with the puppy. She'll be fine. Like once you figured out with the first one, the second one, you're like, all right, I did everything wrong. I'm doing it all right the second time, and it's way easier.
Yeah,
it's all good.
I love it.
Well, I'm glad it's going well for you, man. I'm glad the knee's better. Glad the baby's great. And where can everybody find all this stuff you have going on? So you got the Unlocked app, right? And then where can they find the other 2?
So Unlocked has its own app. You can find that on iOS or Android. And then Stream Fitness, there's an app as well. You can find that. But everything's on my Instagram. It's at Scott Panchik. And I'll be putting more content out. The last thing, this is very exciting. Tomorrow, Born Primitive launches my line of clothing that's been in like a year and a half in the works.
Right. Wow. I have some of that, by the way.
Yeah. What'd you think? Did it fit all right?
Yeah, they're great. It's great. Shorts are great. It's also you. As soon as it came in, I'm like, oh, this is all the shorts, especially, are so you. I'm like, you definitely had a say.
I'll have to pick some up for Matt because he's obsessed with your Innovates.
Oh, really? That's
obsessed.
Awesome.
Yeah. I purchased them for him before John had a code. Okay. So that's how you know this is legit, not an endorsed, not paid, whatever. He loves them. They're all he wears now.
I love them. I wear them every day.
Shoe. That was my first shoe I had when I
all of ours.
When I started CrossFit. That was the CrossFit shoe before all the other brands came in. Totally. So yeah.
Dude, the 260s are great. They're absolutely terrific. Your apparel for Born Primitive is great. Like, I love it. The funny thing, when it showed up, I opened it and I'm looking at it, and Nikki, I don't know if you know this, but Scott's got this thing with Wolf Pack, and we don't have to get into all of it, but the shirt says Wolf on it, but it says WLF, right? And which is really cool. But I just glanced at it and I was like, does that say MILF? Like, just for a second. I'm like, all right, Scott, let's go.
Let's go.
I'll wear this.
That's
I'm
funny.
down for this.
That's so funny.
Dude, it's super comfortable, great. I worked out in it that day. I was like, I look like a fanboy. I had on my Innovate 260s and all your apparel. I'm like, man, if someone could snap a photo right now, I would never live this down.
Yeah, someone would maybe make a meme on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who would do such a thing?
Hey, you know what you should do? You should start selling memes to athletes. I feel like you could make a living doing that. Just like funny stuff that they can post on their own feed. Like, I'm telling you, man, that could be the next evolution.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm gonna make
you do
some
it.
content.
Scott will make an app. You do
Yeah,
the
there
thing.
you go.
Scott
And we
makes
could
an
make
app.
this like a business venture.
Perfect. I think we can
I'm
make
here
that
for
happen.
this.
I like it.
This has been fun as always. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah,
and
thank
I'm
you.
glad your retirement's going so easy for you. You're not having to do hardly anything. So it's terrific.
Absolutely. Don't worry. I'm still training hard. I'm gonna try to take the boys down in the open.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
Well, hang on after we wrap, because I'm going to talk to you about this app.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
Nikki,
Yeah.
we're going to let you go feed the baby.
Okay.
Get on your schedule, and then put him in the bed, and don't touch him again for 24 hours. That was Scott's advice. So
Right.
just leave him in there.
Right. That's what Scott said to do. Got it.
Just leave him in there screaming his head off for a while. It'll be great.
Perfect.
So, all right. Well, for everyone listening, we appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll catch up with you guys soon.